Hey guys, and welcome back to SketchUp for Schools. Today we're going to learn how to build a simple house. Okay, and this is the example that we're going to be going off of. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back over here to our menu. This is where you guys are starting off from your home. Now when you come here, you're going to go to creating new. You're going to have your drop down. You're going to keep it architectural feet and inches, create new. Now, once this opens up, we're going to be drawing our base of our house. And so you're going to see here, we have our model here. So we're going to leave her on here just for some perspective. So the first tool that we're going to be using is we're going to come down here to where we have circle right now. We're going to go up here and we're going to select our rectangle tool. So let's go ahead and have that rectangle. Now you need to make sure that when we draw this rectangle, we're on the blue axis. Again, if you want to get on different axes, if we hit the up arrow, we're on the blue axis. You can see how it's highlighted. If you hit the left arrow on your keyboard, we'd be on the green axis. And if we'd hit the right arrow on our keyboard, we'd be on the red axis. So we want to make sure we're on that blue axis, and we're going to draw a square. Okay. Now, when we draw this square, we're going to let go of our left mouse key, and we're going to type in 25 feet, comma, 20 feet. Okay, and that's going to give us this shape right here. So let's go over here. We're going to go back over here to our pan tool, select that, scroll out. Now remember, Google SketchUp is all about perspective, right? So it's all about the angle at which you're viewing your items to make sure that they are drawn correctly. So now we have our square that's drawn. Now we're going to go over to our push-pull tool, and we're going to push this up 14 feet. So 14 feet, press enter. Okay, and this gives us the beginning of our house. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our line tool, and on the top, so go ahead and position your piece so that way you can see the top of your building. You're on your line tool, and so as we're going down our line, you're going to see that it snaps to a midpoint. And so what we want to do is we want to draw a line from midpoint to midpoint across the top of our building. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select our move tool. So that's going to come down here. We're going to select our move tool, which is going to be on this area here. We're going to select that move tool, and we're going to select that line in the middle. So select the line in the middle, make sure it's highlighted. Okay, and you're going to select your move tool, and you're going to have your move tool here in the center point, and you're going to bring it up. And so when I bring it up, I want to be on the blue axis, okay? And I'm going to bring that up 6 feet. And what this is going to do is as we scroll around, you're going to see that we're starting to look like a house. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some windows and some doors. Okay, so on the front of our house right here, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our square, and we're going to find that midpoint. And at that midpoint, we're going to draw a rectangle, and that rectangle is going to be 3 feet, comma, space, 6.5 feet. Okay, so notice down here in the dimensions, we have 3 feet, comma, 6.5 feet. We're going to press enter, and that's going to give us our 6.5 foot door frame, and it's going to be 3 feet wide. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to come back up here. We're going to go to our select tool, is because we're going to use our offset to offset this door. Okay, now normally, let's show you an example here. If we go to the offset tool and I go here to the center, if I do this, if I offset it, you're going to see that we have some geometry that's below the house. We don't want that to happen. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to select, with our select tool, we're going to select all 3 sides. So we're going to click on one side. Then you're holding the shift key. You can see how a plus or minus appears. You're going to select your other 2 sides. Now with your offset tool, now when you come to the center and you offset, it's only going to be on those 3 sides. Okay, so you're going to offset that door frame. And now we're going to use our push-pull tool, and we're going to push this in, and we're going to push this out. Gives a little bit of geometry, a little bit of a nice view for our house here. So this is going to be our door frame. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some windows. Okay, so let's go back over here to our rectangle tool, right? So we just selected that rectangle tool. And so now right here on the face, we're going to draw a rectangle, and we're going to have it at 1.5. So let's do 3 feet, comma, 1.5 feet. Okay, so 3 feet, comma, 1.5 feet. Hit enter. Okay, and we're going to do some box windows. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we come up here to our select tool. We're going to drag it across until that shape is selected. Now we're going to make a copy of this. Okay, so let's go ahead. You're going to hit move. And then while you're on the face, before you click anything, you're going to hold down the control. Just tap your control. You can see that little plus symbol shows up. Now when you click on the face, it makes a copy. Okay, and so that is now going to be our box window. Okay, so now we're going to select both of those, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select the move. We're going to come over here. We're going to hit control, and then we're going to click on it, and we're going to make a copy. Okay, and so we're gonna space these out at let's space them out at 5 feet apart. So 5 feet. We're gonna go back over here. We're gonna click on the control again, right? The plus symbol comes up, and now we're gonna click on it, and we're going to move it another 5 feet. You see how we just did the 5 feet? It inferenced it from the previous move. Okay. Now click on it one more time. Click on it. Plus. Click. 5 feet. Okay. One more time, plus 5 feet. All right, so now we have all our windows set. Let's select this window here. Let's just make sure that this is, let's go ahead and move these windows. It's okay that they're not exactly 5 feet, but we just want to space them out so that way it looks right. Okay. All right, so now we have all our windows up on the top floor, right? So this is going to be a 2-floor building.
1 hour later.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come back over here, hit our select, and we're going to draw some overhangs on our house. Okay, so we're going to come back over on this side right here. We're going to take our tape measure tool, and from the middle, not the center point, but the middle on the edge, you're going to click on it and bring it down 6 inches. Okay, that gives us a guide. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to do that on the other side, and we're going to come back on this side right here. We're going to rotate our house around, and if it takes you a little bit, that's okay. Come back over here. We're going to take it and we're going to move this down 6 inches. Right, and so now we have our guides, and now what we're going to do is we're going to draw some lines. So let's go ahead and take our pencil tool, and we're going to draw a line up to here, and then from here to here. Okay. Now once you have those lines drawn in, you can erase the guide marks with your eraser tool. Okay, so now we have our guide marks, and now what we're going to do is take our push-pull, and we're going to pull this out. Let's pull it out 6 inches too. All right, so now we have our overhang on that side of the house, and now we're going to do the same thing for the overhang on the other side of the house. So we have to take our tape measure, center, 6 inches, perfect. 6 inches, perfect. And now we're going to take our line tool again, starting here in the center. I'm going to draw my line down to the edge. Now, when you draw your lines, make sure that you are on the edges, right, where you are on the intersections. Okay, once you have your lines drawn, erase your guide marks again, and then come back over here to the push-pull tool, and we're going to pull this out 6 inches. Okay, and so now as we scroll around, you can see that our house is starting to come together. Okay, now we got to do our front side, and so we're going to draw a line right here. Now, with the front side, if we try to pull this line out, it's going to pull it straight out. And so we don't want that to happen. Okay. And so in order for us to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to take this front edge and we're going to push this in 6 inches. And what that's going to do is it's also going to box out our windows, right? It makes our door frame a little bit more exposed and it boxes out our windows. Okay. Now what we can do here is for this little edge right here that we don't like, we can draw a line. Okay. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take this line right here, you're going to draw it. And what we're going to do is we're going to push all that way down, right? And so that just opened up that whole side. So that way it's a nice clean line. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the back side of the building. Okay. So we have to draw our line first. Then we're going to push the back side of our building in 6 inches. Okay. Then you got to get rid of that overhang piece again, right? So scroll in. You're going to take your line tool, draw that line, and then using your push-pull tool, you're going to pull this down. All right, so now we have our offset. We have our overhang on all 4 sides. Okay, we got our window frame started. We got our door frame started. Okay, one more thing that we're going to do right here is we're going to draw another window here in the front. Okay, and this dimensions of this window is going to be 5 feet, comma, 3 feet. Okay, and now you could place this window wherever you want. I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna select it, and then I'm gonna move it over just a little bit. Okay, this is kind of like our dining room window. Okay, and again, we can add some geometry here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our offset tool here in the center. You're gonna click it, and we can add box here. And then we're gonna do one more here. And so what this is going to allow me to do is I can take my push-pull tool and I can push this in just a little bit. And then I can kind of look onto the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this one out and I'm going to pull this one out just a little bit. Right. And so what that does is it allows to have a little bit of a nice geometry on that window. Okay. Now this is the house so far. This is part 1 of our SketchUp design. And so what I want to do is I want to come up here to our untitled. And I'm going to save it. So I'm going to go to save to, go to your drive. Now when you go to your drive, you're selecting the folder that we saved it to, right? So you guys have SketchUp designs. I have mine as SketchUp projects. And so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to name it down here. I'm going to put a small house project. And I'm going to name this as day 1. Okay. So small house project day 1, saving it. Okay. And so now this is where we're going to stop for today, and then we'll continue on with the project tomorrow.